I didn't have a mic this morning, so it may take a second to get used to. So I'm Jane Cushney. I'm the manager of the Saginaw Home. And next to me is Megan Shuri and Melissa Furtado, Holly Smith, and Mackenzie Armas. And they are part of our team. Part of our team were here this morning, and we still have some other team members out in the audience. We have a huge team. There's 15 of us in total, which is an exception, I guess, all by itself. So we're going to get started. So the Saginaw program is a residential and community support program for transitional aged youth, just as Denise had said. We focus on some key areas in our program. One is the use of technology to do the work and enhance our communication. We use that extensively, and so we'll be talking about that in a minute. Talk about humane use of human resources. So we're talking about how do we support each other, how do we build a team, how do we do things in a different way, especially when we're working with people who come to us with mental health challenges, sometimes aggressive behaviors, etc. What's the best use of human resources? So we've been taking a look at that. How to strengthen resilience. Becoming open to different points of view, change, doing things differently. We get consultation from other people in the agency who've done it before, and as well as some outside resources. We're also interested in becoming that change, becoming the change that's needed in our community. Mental health, policing are the two that have really, we've had light shed on them this year. Developing ourselves, learning how to lead, and I have a number of leaders on my team. As a matter of fact, I think I have a team full of leaders. So, and how they tell their stories and how they've learned to express their leadership abilities. And our last thing that we focus on is making mistakes. One of the first things Lord has told me is, well, we're going to make mistakes and we're going to learn from them. So that is exactly what we do at Saginaw. We make lots of them. We try not to make the same ones over and over.
Okay, so OneUp is a pilot project that was introduced to everyone at Saginaw back in August. It is an easy-to-use note-taking and information management program where you can capture ideas, information, and it's all online. So far, we've found it to be very useful. It was a challenge at the beginning, to say the least. I think that some people on our team are a little more handy with that stuff, so that certainly was a bonus. Okay, so we support two young women who are independent. One lives independently and one lives at Saginaw and is often just out in the community. So we have the use of a staff cell phone, so we can reach out to these young women and they can phone in. We often are texting or phoning, so they can call us 24/7. Often, we also created a Facebook account for one of the young women who doesn't have a cell phone right now, so she can message us at any time and we can jump on and contact with her. She's often at like the library and whatnot in the community. All of our young ladies came to Saginaw with all sorts of gadgets, so like laptops, tablets, cell phones, iPads, you name it. To provide them with all of us to assist them in being safe on the internet has always been very important. And on call, so all of our full-time staff do a rotation of on-call, so we found that an outside point of view is often very helpful, so we can call out to our on-call and get ideas, suggestions, just talk over a situation that we might be struggling with at Saginaw. And we've helped, Technology is huge at Saginaw. I think we've come a long way just in this short period of time. So to help one another, like these ladies are, helping Jane through the way. I know that I'm not very tech savvy and I've assisted, so I don't know, I guess that says a little something about, helping each other out. We all, I think everyone has taken a leadership role at Saginaw. We have people get into our codes and whatnot, and we've paused, and I think that just, I don't know, situations happen and all of a sudden you're on the spot and you gotta kind of go with it and kind of assist your team and following the way and making the right calls.
Thank you. One of the things with leadership is we have a weekend shift coordination, shift charge system where our full-time primary counselors take an on-call rotation depending on the weekend they're on, and they handle most of the surprises that we experience out of the young women that we support. They provide information because it's relatively available to them, and it is a part of our leadership development. This is what leadership is supposed to look like. Okay, so you're working your way up, you make your way up, and you get to the top. This is what my shift charge people have told me that leadership feels like. By the way, the bunny will be explained at the end. We do a lot of work on problem solving in our program. When we don't know the answers and we don't know what to do, we have kind of a motto of keeping calm and continuing to problem solve. We meet daily, we meet hourly sometimes, and sometimes we meet every minute of a day in order to continue to plan and strategize. We know there's a solution. We try to stay out of trouble and we try to stay away from additional problems. We are always working towards a solution. We have to find new ways. We can't say, well, this is the way it's always been done. We're trying to find ways to keep people in service, people who would otherwise leave. If plan A doesn't work, we know there's 25 more letters in the alphabet, and we just keep moving until the problem is eventually solved.
So, like Jane said, mistakes happen, and we've made lots. Quite a few with our team building, actually, and I think that's something that was expected, having a whole brand new team. All of you are aware, if you're part-time, full-time, there is a bit of a divide, whether it's mistrust between staff, the struggle of power, etc., whatever it is, there's a divide there. And we've tried really hard at Saginaw. We've learned from our mistakes. We do a lot of team building exercises, and it's really helped us to move along. And something that's different about our part-time and full-time staff is that we work so closely together. So there's a part-time staff working every single day, whether it's during the day shift or the evening shift, there's always a part-time staff on shift. So that's a little different from other houses. It's not strictly a weekend position or an extra shift here and there. Literally every day we're working together. So something that we've done to kind of help the flow of communication is we've divided our team into two pods. So we have the green pod, and both these pods consist of full-time and part-time staff. So we have the green pod, aka team, and the purple pod, and this helps us to get the information out to every single staff member. Sometimes we found that if full-time met and then the information just trickled down to part-time, things were getting lost and protocols and whatever else we were coming up with just wasn't reaching out to every staff member. So meeting in these two separate teams just really helps us to have a clear vision and keep us all in unison with how we are handling situations with the participants. So that's really helped and that's worked really well. And like I said, we've done lots of team building. We hang out as a full team, and there's no segregation anymore. So that's great. So yeah, team together, everyone achieves more. So yeah, we really found that at Saginaw. If we didn't work so great together, and if we didn't work so closely together, it wouldn't be as good for the girls, is what it comes down to. And another thing that's different is our part-time staff have individual roles. So they help out with scheduling, they, put their 2 cents in for that, and as well as there's a staff that helps out with the individual participants that we have, as far as groceries go, and like apartment management for cleaning and stuff like that. So it just really gives a whole new meaning to part-time staff, and it's not just a weekend position, it's an everyday position for our part-time staff.
I'm just going to speak very briefly to the Common Thread Initiative. It's an initiative of the regional area office regarding supporting people who have challenging behaviors, and 3 members of our team have been part of that initiative for the province for the last 9 months. We spent a lot of time on it, and it's helped us to look behind the challenging behaviors that we're presented with. And something about behavior is, what do you see when you look up there? You see good? You see evil? Do you see both? And that's something, it's just a perspective to keep in mind when you're looking at behavior. We've done a lot of bridge building this year. Our biggest need was our young women came and their youth psychiatrist simply dropped them. As they came into service with us, we had to scramble and work out psychiatric services, and we weren't getting very far. So we actually enrolled ourselves and went to a program, and every time it was for families and to tell people what was available in the community, and at every group we reinforced that we were here and that we also needed support. And they have things like walking programs, etc. We said, our people walk, you know? Why can't they come? So, and just putting it out there. We also use the services of Here 24/7 in order to get our psychiatric services up and running. We do a lot of work around the mental health area in our particular home, and are bringing in new resources all the time.
So some of our growing pains started with some of the challenging behavior we've seen in crisis situations. And as a team, we identified that we needed to implement some type of protocol to identify when these situations are at different levels and how we were going to respond to them, not only as a team member, but as a collective group in order to be effective in how we were supporting the individual women at the group home. Collectively, there was a team that was brought together to develop an emergency code system that would be identifying 3 levels of crisis. And we basically just labeled them in a simple color format of blue, yellow, red. Blue would be identifying, cool it, someone is off, struggling, there's a change in behavior, a change in tone, something is just off and we're not sure how this is going to play off. And this code is so that it's sent out to the team that's working because of the use of technology that Megan touched upon. It could be a simple text message, it could be a quick phone call just to say, this individual is blue, just so you know, things may go one of which way when we return back to the residence. If the situation then turns to a yellow, the yellow is caution is needed. It's time to reach out outside of the house. The protocols are informing our actions, plans go into place, and likely there's an incident report to be followed. So if that call is to happen, that is usually when we take advantage of the support staff that's on shift and to allow the staff that is working with the crisis that's happening, that person can be the one that lays down with the phone calls either with the on-call manager or police or emergency services to allow us to work with the crisis instead of trying to struggle making phone calls if things do escalate further. So if that situation then increases to the next level, which is red, this is the crisis is actually occurring and assistance is needed. We need police, we need ambulance, so on and so forth. And this was implemented as a result of a situation that we had, and we had a police response time of about an hour and a half. That's not acceptable. And we learned that very quickly that we needed to find a way to support not only our staff team to be safe, but also to keep the participants in the group home safe as well. As a result of those situations, we were able to connect with Waterloo Regional Police. We were able to have a really frank and good discussion expressing our concerns about the level of service we're going to receive when we're calling for emergency services, and also their concerns of what they need from us. So together now we're working in kind of bridging the gap and filling in, the blank areas so that we get a proper response time and that they're aware of what is going on and how important it is to get emergency services to the situation. And this is just to ensure that everyone who's working feels safe enough to come to work and to provide supports appropriate for the participants and to keep the participant ladies safe as well. Yeah, and then there's cross-training that's happening between the police and ourselves on how we should be reporting the incident if we're calling 911, the things that we should be saying. They have taken our information into their system and have flagged different numbers, just so that depending on which officer is working in the zones or who's responding to the calls, they're able to identify who we are and not just assume that we're just another group home under the very big umbrella of several group homes for different agencies all around the Waterloo region. So, working together.
I missed this slide this morning, and I think it's really important. When we take our incidents apart, one of the things that I have handed out, and people laughed the very first time I did it, is I handed out Q-tips. We had to take everything apart, and it is to remind people to quit taking it personally. We all have egos, we all have things to learn, and so I found this slide, and I thought it was very good, because it is a series of Q-tips, but to remind people not to take it personally, that we are going to develop and grow and get better as we go along. And one of the very best things that we did this year by taking it apart and then putting it back together was Christmas. And so I'm going to turn that over to Holly.
So all the young women that live with us have a lot of trouble historically around Christmas. Christmas means a lot of things to a lot of people, but typically with our participants, it's not always an easy time. There is the good with the bad, and it can cause a lot of anxiety for our participants. So we wanted to be really mindful and purposeful in how we did Christmas, also because this was their first Christmas living in adult services. So we started with our tree trimming party, which we held on December 16th. Now we were very purposeful again in having it later in the year so that it wasn't this big build up to Christmas and expectations were getting really high. We also invited their family members and friends to come join us, and all of the staff were there. It was a nice little party. We had sort of a potluck type thing, and everyone brought an ornament to put on our tree. And that's when we put our tree up, and it was really special because everyone, as they went up and put their ornaments on the tree, sort of shared the story of, well, this is where I got it, or, you know, this is what this symbolizes, and all the girls had their own ornaments as well. So it really brought a lot of meaning to the tree and to the Christmas